I challenge you as a believer, let that power get out.
Blind people received their sight. People have been carried in. We're healed. Nobody touched them. Nobody laid a hand on them. We just praised the Lord and spoke the word of faith, and God began to heal the people.
Here's fish.
Yeah, let's go!
Oh my gosh, he's a pig.
You landed inside.
He kept me from. Look how massive this is.
The Casting Faith Podcast.
Fish on.
Welcome back, folks. Today we're revisiting a topic that sparked some heated debates on social media and within our friend group. Does everybody remember our Thanksgiving episode where I boldly claimed that turkeys are dumb? Well, it seems
finally
like,
eating your words.
No. We'll see. My mind is a little more open on the turkey topic. Because I heard some crazy stories recently. And so we're going to dive into turkeys today in this episode. Are they dumb? So, Sean, I'm asking the question again. Turkeys, are they dumb?
You know, I don't think they are.
Well, you know, the Bible talks about in Genesis where God gave man dominion over the beasts of the field and the creeping things and the fish of the sea.
However,
no, I'm teasing. No.
However, he also gave them like
rules
wisdom
to follow
and wisdom,
and they broke them.
And they have really good vision.
Turkeys?
Yes, a turkey can spot you in the woods. That's why turkey hunters have like the best camo.
I saw a reel yesterday.
Oh man,
and it's not reel of the week.
Help me out, friends.
I saw a reel of these golfers, and they were golfing, and the guy is doing a call. He's like, and then that was terrible. Anyways, he's doing this call, and all these turkeys start strutting and calling back, and they're doing like a call and response. And he gets out of the golf cart, and he starts to charge the turkeys, and they let him. They're just standing there.
Those are not wild turkeys.
They are wild turkeys.
Wild as in they live in the woods.
They're not
near
captivity.
The public.
They're not in captivity. See, there's a difference. This is the same topic as like the people saying that our steelhead aren't real steelhead. It's like may not be deep in the woods with these turkeys, but like they're free. They're not in captivity. They weren't bred like as farm turkey.
No,
they're just out there living their life.
It's not the same.
They're wild.
It's not the same as that.
It's
not.
Prove it to me.
All right. So just like with deer, if you go like across, so I live on 7,000 acres of public hunting land.
Sure.
If you go behind my house where everybody hunts, it's like 6,000 or 5,000 acres right here. You cannot get anywhere close to a deer. If there are, I don't even think they exist. The only way I know they exist is because I have a drone.
They're there.
And I've seen them on the drone.
They are there.
However, if you try to hunt them, you'll never see one. If you just take a walk, not even during hunting season, which is when you would normally see deer, when you're not hunting for them, you won't find them. And if you do, you'll see a white tail running away, or you'll hear them snort you off. But if you go across the lake on the other 2,000 acres where it's the campground, you can walk up to them and feed them.
Here's the thing.
So my point is when wild animals are near the public and it's a normal thing and there's no danger, they don't, in their generation after generation raised in this no danger, they begin to genetically not be afraid of humans anymore. So my point is like, that's the same thing with turkeys that are raised around humans. Like they don't understand and know that we're going to kill them.
Or maybe. So you're kind of changing my mind, but not through the argument that you're making. You're changing my mind in the way that they're smart because they're moving to where people aren't going to kill them.
Yeah.
So they're smart enough not to be in your backyard where it's legal hunting and find themselves across the street in the camping grounds where they're not going to get killed.
They're not. Well, maybe they are.
So that's smart, but like dumb.
That's deer though. There's no turkey in these woods.
There's pheasant.
That only because the DNR releases them.
That's also so
they can't survive
silly.
back here.
I don't understand. Help me understand that. pause our turkey debate.
I
real
don't
quick.
know much about pheasants, so I don't understand
Just
that.
like it's the same go about with like, what is our DNR doing with our money? Like, I don't always agree or understand.
Providing opportunities. It's fun. It's providing memories, opportunities,
but it's not
and
real.
feeding your family.
It's not real.
Well,
According to everybody else who thinks turkeys are smart, like it's not real turkey. They're not real pheasants. They were released.
Yeah.
They're not real fish. They were born in a hatchery. They're not real deer. They're campground deer. They're Talmadge deer.
Yeah, Talmadge deer.
Speaking of Talmadge deer, there for years there was this trophy target. Well, I guess he wasn't a target buck because nobody can hunt there, but he would be your target buck. It was an albino buck.
That's cool.
He was completely white, and he was huge. He had giant antlers, and he was easily an 8-point buck. Just albino would have been really cool. But he was around the church grounds forever. My point is that.
There's a way you could tell, because if you shoot an albino deer, there's
Is that
a
illegal?
myth that you'll never kill another deer.
Really? Because
It's a myth.
you've won.
No,
you don't have to do it.
It's like a curse.
Oh gosh, I don't
The
understand.
aliens won't let you kill another one. It's future time travelers.
The albino deers.
No, the UFOs. I don't know
Is that
how
what
we
you
got
think?
there, but
I don't know how you got us back into this weird left field, but anyways, I think it's funny that people are so heated about this topic of whether an animal is smart or dumb. The reason I think turkeys are dumb is because every experience I've had with a turkey, they do dumb things.
need to take you turkey hunting,
I would love to go turkey hunting.
and then you'll understand.
You're speaking because people think they're smart because they're elusive. Is that why?
They're not elusive. They're just
Hard to call.
They can see really well.
Spook easy.
They will not come into a call that doesn't sound like them, and so your experiences are with turkeys that are not necessarily domesticated,
Domesticated
but they're raised around humans, and so they don't know the fear of a human. Like
oh, they know my
like for-
fear. I almost run them over every time I see 'em.
for like deer hunting is what I can speak to, because I know more about that than any other hunting.
Mm-hmm.
The deer that were in my backyard the past couple months here.
Oh, there are some.
There are. Here's the thing. With hunting, they remember danger.
Mm-hmm.
And they remember danger through generations. So as long as I'm not killing anything back here, they're going to feel safe. They're still not going to come around. Like if I open my door, they're still going to take off running. But if I'm feeding them, or if I'm not shooting them or not running them off, I'm not letting my dog chase them, like they're not going to know that fear. However, if I am killing them back there, and they will put fear with human,
Mm-hmm.
and that'll pass on through generations as they teach their young, and then the next generation will teach their young. So
I get what you're saying.
So that's the same thing with turkey.
Me and
I
David
believe.
and you were on, to bring this back to my world. Me, David, and you went fishing on the Grand this year or last year, and we went to this new spot on the Grand that we hadn't been to before. And me and David waded through, and you found your float current, and we were trying to find a pool for spoons. We went separate ways. You went one way, we went the other. We waded through the river to get to this spot, and when I cast my spoon, it was immediate, like an immediate bite, because you could tell, and it was like back to back, me and him both. Bite. He caught 2, I caught 1, but I got off, so it didn't really catch it. But you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The bite was so quick and instant because they hadn't seen it before.
Yeah.
So
Steelhead
those
are similar.
Yeah.
And people talk about that all the time on other podcasts that I've listened to, that they've seen everything. Mm-hmm. And maybe they forget when they go out into the lake and come back, but they have a good memory is what I've heard. And Steelhead will remember.
I think fish
that is a jig, not a real thing. Yeah. or that is a spoon, not a real minnow.
Yeah. I just I think about that and think, man, maybe it was just because we were in a spot where less people are.
Yeah, well, that spot was right off the lake almost, so those were super fresh, like probably hours ago they just came up into the river. So they were just feeding on minnows.
Yeah. And we just got lucky.
Or shiners.
I don't know if it's an intelligence thing, if it's just a chance and opportunity time of opportunity. Like maybe our hunting regulations and our fishing regulations are built around times where are less likely to decimate the population by just getting things
especially
easier.
with deer. Well, I know for deer.
Yeah.
So right around the breeding
Like if there were
season,
no rules, everybody would be taking a deer.
Yeah.
And everybody would be taking a turkey.
yeah,
And everybody
and
would be taking
they don't
some.
let you hunt in the spring and summer because
They're
they're
more-
fawns.
Yeah.
You know, like the young deer, you could wipe out entire generations.
Right. So maybe it's not so much of an intelligence thing, but the way that our laws and regulations are structured.
Yeah, definitely with purpose and
Yeah.
intention.
So so that brings us back to it. Are they dumb or are they smart? The turkeys that I've encountered seem pretty dumb,
Yeah.
but my mind is slowly changing because I have another story for you. All right. So this story started to change my mind about my view on wild turkeys. Okay, picture this. It's a very nice morning in a small Massachusetts town, and our unsuspecting hero, Bob, we'll call him Bob. Say hi, Bob. Bob steps outside, and he's ready for a peaceful start to his day, but what does he find? He finds a gang of wild turkeys have taken over his yard. That's right. These feathery troublemakers are lounging about his yard like they own the place. Their wings are spread wide. They're tearing up his grass. They're like digging for grubs and stuff. They're tearing up his grass like they own his yard. And it's like a scene out of a comedy movie. Bob just didn't know what to do or get the memo about these turkeys just mass swarming on his lawn. And so what does Bob do? Like any other brave person facing this feathered invasion, he grabs the nearest weapon he can find, a broom. And so he runs outside with broom in hand, and it becomes a mighty sword against the turkeys. He charges out, and he's like inner lightsaber, right? He's going crazy with this broomstick trying to get these turkeys out. But here's where things get intense. Instead of scattering like typical birds would do if you chased them with a broom, these turkeys surround him, flapping their wings, squawking loudly, as if to say, "We're not afraid of you, Bob. We dare you. Come at us." And so imagine the sight of this guy, broom in hand, spinning it around like he's wielding a lightsaber, fending off the squad of just feathered ninjas. Completely crazy scene. And so like they're not backing down, and the standoff continues. Bob realizes he's outmatched by this feathery army, and he starts swinging the broom like a madman. And the turkeys are relentless. Finally defeated and humiliated, he retreats to the safety of his house, knowing he's been bested by a flock of birds. But wait,
Domesticated.
Bob doesn't leave without a legacy. He puts up a brave "Beware of the Turkey" sign in his yard,
Oh my.
marking the territory and declaring himself a local legend. From that day on, he's known as the guy who went to battle with the wild turkeys and lived to tell the tale.
Wow.
And so today in this episode, we remember these aren't just dumb birds.
I thought you were going to say we remember Bob.
We remember Bob, the local hero of Massachusetts. No, these birds are not dumb, but they can be very intimidating in numbers. Maybe they're a little bit more organized than I think. Maybe they're not as dumb as I think. Because I've never seen just one. I've always seen groups of turkey.
Yeah.
What's that called? A group of turkey?
Flock, I
Flock,
assume.
probably.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I got another story from a listener, Wolf of Walmart.
Yep.
Dave Irk, I assume is how you say that. So this is listener supported story.
Let's go. Engagement.
All right. Says, all right, I got a story. Let me take you to sunny California, where the wild turkeys are not just roaming, they're organizing. That's right. Picture a quaint neighborhood. I don't know what quaint. What is that word? Quiet. I'll go with quiet. Listen, I have a West Virginia education.
There it is.
Where life is usually peaceful, but lately chaos reigns supreme. Why? Because there's a gang of wild, domesticated turkeys wreaking havoc. I added the domesticated.
But they're not.
They're raised around people.
So are you.
Exactly.
You're domesticated.
So, It all starts when our listener sends us this wild tale about these feisty turkeys that have banded together like a feathered mob. They've decided that the streets are their playground, and they're not afraid to flex their muscles, or should I say, wings.
Oh, my.
Imagine this. Families are trying to enjoy their morning coffee. Kids are heading to school. And suddenly, out of nowhere, these turkeys come charging down the street. They're not just waddling. They're on a mission. Reports are coming in that these birds have been chasing after neighborhood cats.
No way.
And get this, they've even sent a few unsuspecting dogs to the vet.
That's crazy. How?
Now
don't dogs retrieve birds in hunting? Like, there's quite a bit of like, you get a hunting dog, right?
Yeah, ducks.
Not
I don't know about turkey.
No.
All right, think about it. A once proud dog, ready to defend its territory, suddenly confronted by a squad of wild turkeys acting like they own the place. It's like a scene from a blockbuster movie, if we had Blockbuster still. Turkeys of Fury. The dogs are running for their lives while the turkeys just strut around flapping their wings as if they've celebrated victory. And the best part, the residents are at a loss, trying to figure out how to safely deal with,
is Cali,
with
so.
this avian uprising. What's avian? That's another word.
That's bird.
Oh, gosh.
Read a book.
How did I start a podcast?
No, teasing.
Some are calling animal control, while others are just standing back and watching the chaos unfold. Like it's the latest reality TV show, Real Housewives of the Feathered World. But here's the deal. Without any natural predators in the area, these turkeys have become bold, fearless, and a little too confident. You know, I bet you there are natural predators in the area. There's coyote everywhere.
Well, yeah. You know, this one time in the middle of your story, I'm going to tell a story.
Yeah.
Ready? This one time I was working at the church, right? And we had a bit of a coyote issue as well. Like I said, it's like, it's not quite the fishing spot you're talking about in a recent episode where it's like out there in the wilderness, but like it's kind of got its own ecosystem. And we had a situation where the coyotes were getting a little close to the preschool, right? And so we had a trapper come in and take care of business. But there was this time I was out, I was opening the building, and right in the middle of the parking lot, there's just a gut pile.
Nice.
And I'm like, what in the world? Apparently, like it was either the Canadian geese or some of those wild turkey. But a coyote had gotten a hold of one of them and just left the gut pile right in the middle of the driveway. It was pretty gnarly.
Wow.
I get the idea of it being domesticated, which it's not. It's still wild. I don't know. There are real predators, especially in California too. Isn't that where like all the mountain lions and stuff are?
Yeah, sure.
Maybe the thing that's sending
Maybe
me,
it depends on which part of
I guess it does.
California this
You
comes
would think
from.
maybe it would be maybe a mountain lion taking the animals to the vet or to the grave.
Yeah, so these turkeys have become bold, fearless, and a little too confident. They've formed their own little community, and it's clear that they're not backing down anytime soon. Sounds like MS-13, like turkey style.
My goodness.
So as we dive deeper into this episode, remember that these aren't just silly birds causing trouble. They're like a feathered mafia, MS-13 style, showing us that
Maybe beep that
they will
out.
kill. Showing us that when you stick together, you can create quite the ruckus.
Quite the ruckus.
Who knew that
quite making the ruckus.
Who knew that wild turkeys could turn a quiet neighborhood into a scene from a comedy?
Man, it's interesting.
It's gonna get wild.
It is. They are wild. No, so I'm still torn. I'm torn on this because it sounds like a suburb.
Yeah, definitely. You wouldn't see that happen in West Virginia.
No,
I'm telling you that.
people would just take care of that right quick.
Well, you won't see a turkey near a house in West Virginia often.
Because
Anywhere where people hunt, you're not going to see them near
yeah,
humans' habitation.
what's crazy is they're organized. They're like, we're taking this street. Bob, you're next. Bob's Yard's next. We're gonna hit up the Wolf of Walmart real quick.
Yeah,
take his cat.
This is my hood.
So turkeys will eat anything. No,
I don't know if that's true.
are they like scavengers?
No, I don't
Well,
think so.
I think because I have some friends who have chickens,
Yeah.
and you can feed chickens. Chickens aren't like herbivores. They're like us. They eat anything.
Mm.
In fact, like
I don't know much about them.
people
I know
throw.
you can feed them pellets, whatever the pellet
Oh
is.
yeah, but like you could throw them steak and they're gonna eat steak. You could throw them chicken and they'll eat chicken. You could throw them grubs and they'll eat grubs. They eat anything, and it's actually better for them to have a balanced diet rather than just like feed from a mill or something, you know. And so
Yeah.
I bet you turkey. I don't know. I think turkeys and chickens are kind of close.
When I think of animals that eat grubs, I just think of Timon.
And Pumbaa,
Yeah,
that
Pumbaa.
juicy,
Yeah.
that juicy morsel. I used to think it would taste so good.
Ew.
Not wild, gross. They'll eat anything. So did they eat the cats, or did they just maim them for like dominance sake?
Probably with their large talons.
Tore them up. Are turkeys dumb?
No.
I don't know.
And they have really good vision.
Pose the question in a different way. Turkeys who are in areas that you're not allowed to hunt, they're dumb. You can't call them domesticated because they're still wild. But turkeys in areas like Talmadge and other places like golf courses and stuff like that, where people are present a lot that aren't a threat, those turkeys are dumb.
Yeah.
Just like the steelhead that are coming in right out of the lake can be tricked by, you could throw a booger in the water and it's going to eat it. You know what I mean? Like those are dumb, right?
Yeah.
Or the deer that's grown up eating the neighbor's apple unsuspectedly comes upon the new house who's a hunter. He's pretty dumb, you know?
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know.
I think it's a balance. There's like I don't know. But the crazy thing is they're gang up together. And so that's wild to me. So that makes me think that they're not dumb is because they work in numbers.
Yeah.
And so we talked about this a little bit in the last episode or in an episode before where there's strength in numbers, right? I mentioned that I think it you know what is dumb is like hiking or fishing on your own in dangerous areas, because if something happens to you, then you're toast, right?
Yeah.
You have no help. So when you are going out into the wild, it would be dumb to be alone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even when I kayak by myself, because I kayak by myself, but even then I get a little weary.
All right. So I think it's more dangerous to kayak by yourself than to take a hike in the woods by yourself.
When there's moose and bear and snakes and
I don't know.
So when I kayak by myself, I have a tile.
I usually don't wear my
on my
life
kayak.
jacket though. So
Also dumb, but I have I don't wear mine either, so can't beat you up too much. I always have it on my vessel though. If you're listening,
yeah,
Warden.
DNR.
So
Same. It's just in the hall.
yeah. No, I think that, you know, when I go out on my kayak, I will always have a tile or a tracker on my kayak in case something does go wrong. People know where I was last.
So when you get abducted by the
You
aliens
can't
on
get off the
Mogador,
story. Guys, we flipped Sean. For the record, I never said I believed in aliens. Like, I didn't say that this was aliens. I just said it's unexplainable.
So
It's
you're
unexplainable.
not saying that it's not. And you're not saying that it is. So the only other option besides aliens is it's just a time traveler from the future.
That makes no sense whatsoever. There are a number of other options that it could have been.
No, it's just
If you're
aliens or time
confused
traveler.
about this conversation right now, go ahead and go back to episode 10 and take a listen where we have David Himes on and we share this story of when we went camping and something unexplained happened. And Sean can't get off. We broke him. He can't.
He broke me for sure.
He can't quit thinking about it. We are
I
currently
watched so many videos.
we're currently planning an expedition in a YouTube video
Yes,
for
there
this,
will be one in the summer.
for this topic.
There
So
will be one.
we're gonna recreate that camping trip.
Yeah, we're gonna go stay the night.
Yep. On that island, and I'm gonna bring a gun this time. Though, that's for sure.
I can't get past it.
So, anyways,
I've watched too many videos now.
has nothing to do with turkey. Has nothing to do with this.
Actually, turkeys might be drones.
So Sean went down the rabbit hole. Turkeys are birds, very dumb birds, but they're birds.
You know, the ones that are domesticated Could be drones.
Only one way to find out. I got to go jump on one.
Just take his head off and it starts sparking.
I get electric. No, I think that I don't know what to think now.
If you're listening, U.S. government, which we know you are, just ignore us.
Yeah,
we're fine.
We're the dumb ones.
We're not actually on to anything.
This is all for entertainment. No, I don't even know where I was.
Sorry.
No. Oh, yes, I do. Okay, so when I'm out on my kayak alone, when I'm in the woods alone,
there it is.
it's always smart to not be alone. It's smarter to have people with you, right?
Yeah.
And so these turkeys are smart enough to know that. So if I did jump on that one bird, his 6 or 8 other friends are going to pounce on me, right? They're not just going to leave him to be hurt. They work in numbers. And so today I want to talk about that a little bit, is that there is safety in numbers, okay? We can't be too prideful to think that you have to go solo all the time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So these turkeys are smart enough to know to move in flocks and stay together and stay in a group. They're not off on their own being rogue turkeys, right? And so when they attacked Bob in his yard in that epic showdown, it wasn't just one turkey, because he would have smacked that turkey with a broomstick and he would have went off on its own. You know what I mean? But it was a mass quantity of turkeys. They were picking off people's pets left and right. Whether they ate them or not, I'm not sure. But they were working together. They were smart enough to work together. And so maybe the turkeys are starting a movement like that where they work together, right? Turkeys unite. But the Bible lesson today that I want to dive into is learning a lesson from these turkeys about unity, okay? There's a lesson about unity here. Believe it or not, these turkeys are teaching us something. There's something powerful about when we come together and we work together, right? In Ecclesiastes 4:9-12, it talks about how 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. For instance, when we go steelhead fishing, if I go by myself, I'm only limited to what? 2 steelhead. That's it. But if Sean and I go, that doubles to
20.
Nope. 4. 4 fish. Math is hard. No, 4 fish. And then if me, Sean, and Justin go,
That's like
6.
algebra.
And then me, Sean, Justin, and David go 8. So it's like it multiplies. And so what the Bible is saying here is that when 2 are better than 1 because they have a better return for their labor. It's all about the strength found in companionship and support. And so it reminds us that even if we don't feel the smartest or strongest individually, when we unite together, we can overcome challenges and achieve things that we would never be able to do on our own. I want to talk to this a little bit because especially about this time of year, we're in January, and so we're at the beginning of the year, and a lot of times people get super motivated to change themselves, right? They start I'm going to start lifting, I'm going to start running, I'm going to start going to Planet Fitness and taking up space. Brother Fred, I feel your pain. And they're going to do that for a month or two, and then they're going to fall off the wagon. Well, why do they fall off the wagon? Why do they fall off so easily? Because they're doing it all by themselves.
Yeah.
And they're trying to stay on this goal all by themselves. And the Bible is telling us that if you want a good return for your work, it's about finding strength in numbers. 2 are better than 1. And so just like those turkeys standing together to protect their turf, we can face down our own challenges when we rely on the strength of others. There's been a number of times in my life where I was going through crazy things that I could never have handled on my own, but because I had the strength of a brother to call on him and say, hey man, I'm dealing with this. Would you pray with me? I think as men, and I know we have female listeners too, and I know that this is a challenge for you as well, but maybe not to the extent it is for the men. We feel like this pressure to do everything on our own. It's our responsibility. It's our job. It's our thing that we have to deal with. But this is not how God intended man to be. In fact, the Bible says that when God created man, he saw that it wasn't good for man to be alone.
Yeah.
And that's why Eve was created. And so why is it that we as men in this culture, we feel like we have to go through things and work through things all completely on our own? And it's a shame if you ask for help, and it's a shame if you go and you seek advice from a friend. It's a sign of weakness. That's baloney, man. And there's so many people listening right now. You're suffering in silence, all out of pride. And that's not, and I'm sorry, this is getting deep, but I just don't think that that's the way God intended us to operate. I think we put ourselves through situations that are unnecessary because we're too prideful to ask for help, or we're too ashamed of what people might think if we reach out for help. And so when life is giving us challenges, and we'll relate this back to fishing a little bit, but man, when I remember the first time we limited out, bro, I would not have known where to go without you, right?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know. We would have been fishing knee deep in mud somewhere for all I knew. But you knew these spots, and you knew more about this fish. And when I went with you, we caught those fish, man. And that's a life memory for me. And I wouldn't have had that if I didn't have your help. And I'm sure you would speak to this too. But like watching all of your friends catch their first steelhead,
Yeah.
is probably greater than the 40 that you've caught this season.
Yeah, it's definitely way funner than catching.
Right. It's so much better because you're celebrating those victories together.
Yeah.
And so, man, when things go your way and you have nobody to celebrate with, it's not as exciting, is it?
Yeah.
And so, even if you can accomplish things on your own, it's not as great because who are you sharing that victory with?
Right.
Don't go solo. Don't be that guy who's just all on his own and he's an island. When you're facing challenges, ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be ashamed to ask for help. Don't be too prideful to ask for help. Most of the times your friends are more than willing to help. You know, they don't view you as weak for asking for help.
Right.
And so we wrap up this Bible lesson. I want us to understand that, and you don't have to be alone. And we could take a lesson, learn from these turkeys, work together.
Mm-hmm.
Because, man, when people work together in unity, things happen.
Yep.
And it works out better than if you're all by yourself. And so I don't believe that it's smart, just like I don't believe it's smart for you to go hiking in the woods all by yourself, where there's moose and other things and bears and all the critters and things. Like anything could happen, right? You would want the companionship of having somebody with you. And it's not wise for me to go out on West Branch on my kayak all by myself. I wouldn't do that. I mean, I have done that, but I wouldn't make a practice of doing that. It's better with friends.
Yeah.
When we have victories together, it's better. Because best case scenario, if you're by yourself, you catch something and you send a picture to the group thread anyway.
Yeah.
And it would have been
cool.
way better if everybody was there to share it with you, you know?
Yeah. Caught my PB by myself.
Yeah,
this
boring.
year on Christmas Day.
Right. Yeah. And I woke up, wiped the sleepies from we call them sleepies in my house. Wiped the sleepy boogers from my eyes. I looked down at my screen and you and David both. And I went, really? On Christmas? They're built different. I was sleeping in and they were catching fish. But it would have been more fun if we were together on that day.
Yeah.
And so now that we soaked in some wisdom, let's lighten the mood a little bit. And I have a reel of the week. And so...
All right. Tell your stuff.
Now we have a reel of the week. Okay.
There we go.
Here we go. I can't play the reel, but I did send you this reel. And we got to look up the copyright laws with sending reels. I'll play a few seconds of it.
Prophecy or something being fulfilled. So just this week in Jerusalem,
Oh my
all
God.
the turkeys and the surrounding environs clumped together and they walked to Bethlehem as if there was like a magnet there drawing them in. And they went to a certain spot where now they're thinking maybe the inn was where Jesus was.
Pause. Okay. So this reel, Scott Whitehead posted this reel. He's an Instagram influencer. He posted this reel, and he's an animal expert. For what it's worth, he has 140,000 plus followers on TikTok. Apparently, he's a fashion model and he's a businessman. But he posts these weird reels, and he's talking about these turkeys in Israel. Okay, and so I said turkeys are dumb, right? But apparently, this past year, 2024, there were turkeys that are not native to Israel flocking together in Israel in mass forms, headed to Jerusalem.
I don't believe it.
So let's find out. We're going to do some fact checks on this.
All right. So I can't find anything that's not TikTok or Instagram about this, which just tells me that it's not real.
All right, Sean, give me your pitch on why this isn't real.
I don't really have one. Just
It's the wah 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 wah.
I think it's highly edited clip there for TikTok for views. You just said that he's an influencer, so
Well, let's
There
look
you
up
go.
the facts. Let's look at the facts. Okay, for those
Where are
of
your
you,
facts coming from, though?
we're gonna find it.
Fact check your facts.
I will. All right. Turkey story from Israel, viral, real or not?
So they do this thing. It's probably not just in this location. I think this is like Ireland or something. The March of the Turkeys, and the farmers that raise these turkeys actually send them by the thousands.
To Israel?
Like, no, this one is a different place, but it's like part of a tradition.
Mm.
The Death March. They're going to be slaughtered.
Oh my. So they are dumb.
Well, these are raised. These are farm raised turkeys that I'm watching now. Like, there's literally thousands and thousands of them, and it looks like Irish, like sound and music. So I'm assuming this is like Ireland or something. It's not uncommon to see thousands of turkeys marching to the slaughterhouse from their pens. So I'm kind of thinking that like the video that the guy used was he dropped an AI background and had just a clip of a death march where turkeys are going from the place that they were living to the slaughterhouse.
Okay, so this reel talks about these turkey who are they're spotted in Israel. And we're going to dive into this real quick, okay? Because it's the kind of thing that you can't just make up unless you're telling a lie for social media, which is what Sean thinks, okay?
100%.
And so let me tell you this one's crazy. Okay, Israel is a land known for its ancient history and breathtaking landscapes, okay? It's where Jesus walked. It's where the whole story went down. And what is going on here? A band of marching turkeys, wild turkeys. You heard that right. Wild turkeys strutting through the streets of Israel like it's some kind of grand parade. Feathers are flapping in the sun, marching in perfect formation. No, it's not a movie set. It was a real thing. A full-on turkey takeover. And everyone's wondering, is this an ancient prophecy coming true? Now, you might be thinking, come on, turkeys in Israel, this has got to be a joke. But let me tell you, these weren't just average backyard birds that were in Bob's house. These turkeys had a plan. They weren't just aimlessly wandering around looking for breadcrumbs. They were on some kind of covert operation mission with feathers, right? They strutted down the streets on a mission to find a place. The locals were completely mystified. 1 minute, everyone's calm, and the next minute, bam, there's a squad of wild turkeys marching through. Not just like 5 or 10, but hundreds of turkeys are just marching through the town like they've been rehearsing for this moment their whole life. And somebody had given these turkeys the memo to march. Okay? Naturally, people are trying to make sense of this. Is this what's going on? Because turkeys aren't a part of that area. They don't really go there. And so they're kind of native to where we are. And so maybe it's some random parade. Or
What was the name of was it in Bethlehem?
Jerusalem. The guy who posted this is Scott Whitehead. His Instagram tag is Nunchakus Dragon. Nunchakus Dragon sent this on Instagram. He talks about how the locals are losing it because there's like turkey poop everywhere. And they're not sure why, but it seems like they're marching to where Jesus was born in Jerusalem.
Not true.
Okay. And so it's got a lot of people talking and laughing, wondering if these turkeys have been trained or if they're on some secret mission or if there's some prophecy coming together or if they're just like they're headed for the slaughterhouse as a barbecue in Israel.
Here's your answer. You ready for the actual answer?
Yeah.
And not the influencer answer?
Yeah.
December 30th, 2024. No, December 29th. 2024, Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
An outbreak of a highly pathogenic avian influenza, commonly called bird flu, was discovered on a turkey farm in central Israel. The country's Ministry of Agriculture and Food Secretary said in a statement on Sunday, Israel detects bird flu outbreak in turkey farm in Jerusalem. To prevent the spread of disease, all chicken coops and turkey coop, whatever, in a 10-kilometer radius of the infected area were quarantined and monitored. The ministry urged the bird breeders to keep their animals indoors, recommend that the public purchase well-packaged eggs, and they were killing all of the turkeys.
So the ones that were marching were infected?
If it was actually Jerusalem,
that's what...
Because it says 19,000 turkeys were infected. So they had to dispatch 19,000 turkeys.
And they couldn't eat them because they were diseased?
Yeah, I don't believe that there was a
I don't say that
Noah's Ark moment.
I don't think I believe that. But no. I just thought it was a funny reel. Like, that's weird because turkeys aren't from that area. So why are they all fucking together?
There is a turkey farm
now we have
in
an
Jerusalem.
Yeah.
19,000 turkeys were infected with bird flu.
So
This was December 2024.
yeah, that lines up with when this was posted. So they are dumb because they got infected with bird flu.
Those were raised and born in captivity.
Dumb birds. Oh man, I thought it was weird and funny, but
There's no way I could ever believe that.
Sean is not.
I
Sean
believe
went
in time
ruined a good
travel.
reel.
I believe in time travel and
Really?
aliens.
You do?
No.
Okay. Specify because
but you
there's
got me
some
questioning.
listeners that might.
But you got me questioning.
I wish you could solve our Mogador story. You can't though. It's unexplainable.
Yeah, until we get beamed up, Scotty.
No thanks. No thank you. No thank you. All right, time for overrated, underrated. We got it. Oh, hey, if you're out there and you're a content creator and you want to make us some tracks for free, that would be great. We would love that. Oh, something better. Time for overrated, underrated. Let's talk about the Great Turkey Parade. I'm just kidding. No, those turkeys were infected with a disease and they were called off.
That's what we're
happened.
thinking.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
That makes sense. That's a logical explanation. That makes sense.
I like finding explanations.
Yeah. Overrated, underrated, turkey edition. Here we go. All right. All right. It's time for overrated, underrated. And the topics this week is centered on turkeys in general. Okay. So, Sean, overrated, underrated. Wild turkeys. Are they overrated or underrated? Are they underrated as an animal species or overhyped as a symbol of rugged independence?
I don't really understand the question, so I will say
Are they overrated?
Wild turkeys are way better than domesticated turkeys because they have actual instincts.
Farm. The word you're looking for is farmed.
Or domesticated,
Okay.
like in a neighborhood.
Those are wild turkeys. We're never going to get through this debate. Are they overrated or underrated as a species? I would say they're overrated.
Underrated.
Overrated. Who cares? Like, for instance, for Thanksgiving, turkey is
All right, let me ask
turkey.
you one
We talked
question.
about this before. Like,
This will give you something to stand on for your answer,
okay.
or it'll make you slip off your mountain.
Oh, I'm not on a mountain.
I'm going to ask you two questions.
I've reserved the right to be wrong.
Have you ever hunted turkeys? That's the first question.
Mm-hmm.
You have?
No.
Oh, okay. Have you ever farmed turkeys?
No.
Okay. So you've only bought them.
Okay. No, I've seen them. I've chased them. I've ran them off.
Okay.
So, I'm pretty sure I fed some before at like a petting zoo.
Oh my goodness. Okay, all right, there's your problem.
No, what I'm saying
Your
is,
experience with turkeys is so
Skewed.
small
yeah. Well, that's true.
and skewed.
That's with all things hunting, I guess. I want to be into that. Somebody take me turkey hunting and then I'll find out. But what I'm saying, this isn't are they dumb or not? This is, are they overrated or underrated? And so I would say they're overrated. For instance, I would rather have a Delmonico steak on Thanksgiving than a butterball turkey.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So they're overrated. I would rather shoot a deer and have deer in my chili than have turkey chili.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So overrated. Defend thine stance. Why are they underrated?
Because they're one of the hardest wild animals to hunt.
Hardest?
Yeah.
I've reserved the right to be wrong, but I don't agree.
They are a difficult animal to hunt.
That I agree with.
Because they are smart, they can see, and you have to communicate with them in their language. Unless you just happen upon one, which is the only turkey I've ever killed. I just happened upon one.
The same is said about Bigfoot. They're loose. All right, turkey as a protein source, overrated or underrated? It's a lean meat option
Overrated.
Overrated.
I don't
or
like
underrated?
turkey.
I would say underrated. Chicken's better.
I don't like chicken either. Yeah, it's weird, right?
Well,
Give me the beef.
red meat forever.
I like cows.
I would say just right. I think it's a good option to have in the rotation, but chicken's cheaper, so I guess overrated or just right. Next one, ready? Turkey bacon. Is it overrated as a healthier alternative, or does it live up to the hype?
Okay. I love turkey bacon. That's one weird thing about
you
me.
make no sense.
I know.
Sir.
I know. It's hilarious.
What? Oh, it's like, here's what it's like. You're eating a scab. You're eating a scab.
Dude, it tastes like, it's just chewy and it's good.
Scab.
Yeah, it's good.
Were you a scab eater when you were a kid?
No.
I'm going to go with just don't eat bacon. Like, I would rather not eat bacon than eat turkey bacon.
Yeah, I like
No,
turkey bacon.
I like turkey sausage. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's ground up with a bunch of flavor and like the texture's similar enough. But like turkey bacon is just so clearly not bacon.
Yeah, I like it. It's a good snack.
Boo. I had turkey jerky, though. That wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But turkey bacon is an abomination. I stand by that. I'll stand by that until the day I die. Next question.
That could be sooner than you think if there's a flock of turkeys outside.
Yeah, you gotta watch your six. All right, here we go. Ready? Turkey sandwiches. Overrated deli meat or classic option for any occasion?
That's funny again because I prefer the turkey over the ham when it comes to sandwiches.
Oh, yeah. This is the area where we're going to agree.
Yeah.
Turkey sandwich all day over any other deli meat, I think. That's my favorite.
It's going to be the thinly sliced.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, that's good stuff.
That's good stuff. All of those nitrates and preservatives. No, I'm just kidding. But no, yeah. Turkey sandwiches are the bomb. Turkey hunting. Overrated, underrated compared to other outdoor pursuits. Is it the ultimate challenge or is it just overrated?
It's underrated. I haven't actually successfully ever gone out and hunted specifically for turkeys.
Yeah.
I have put in like the time to learn calling and
you got to shoot their
study
head off.
on how to hunt them.
The target is their head. Am I right?
I don't know.
The correct.
I think, yeah.
You got to get their
because
neck
you
or
don't
their
want to
head.
destroy all the meat.
Yeah, so it's such a small target. I would say.
Which isn't really like for a shotgun.
Yeah.
That's not hard to hit at a close range.
Right, if you're using shotgun. I've seen people bow hunt with them.
But yeah.
That's gotta be an incredible shot.
I've killed a squirrel with a bow.
That's cool.
That
Did you
was
eat
incredible. I stuck it in the freezer.
And then
it never got
freezer
cooked.
burnt and
It never
ended
got
up thrown
cooked.
away.
Yeah, I was a kid. It was in my parents' freezer.
Oh, I see. That happened to me recently. I threw away some. I didn't throw it away. I fed it to the cat. But I had some freezer burnt catfish from 2023. I was like, I could probably eat this, but should I? Because it was freezer burnt.
Well, if it was from Mogador, you might have been seeing things.
And it was.
Yeah. So
I fed it to
is
the
your
cats.
cat floating right now?
There's nothing wrong. Hey, Mogador is a clean reservoir. There's nothing like. Now, if this was Wingfoot, where there's like.
Yeah, Wingfoot's gross.
Runoff from like Goodyear, like a bunch of barrels of ooze at the bottom of the lake, I wouldn't eat fish from there. But Mogador's pretty clean. There's no gas motors. It's all electric motors. So that's pretty much the cleanest.
We can't talk about Mogador right now because I just keep going back to...
Just keep going back to that story, huh?
So there's a gas line that runs right underneath of the
You
boat
think we
launch
were
thing.
hallucinating?
No, I'm just like wondering if that gas line just makes noises every now and then. Or there is
Sean.
there's a electrical right of way.
Sean, it's okay.
There's big power lines.
It's okay. It can't be explained. It's all right.
There's like 120,000 volts of electricity running over your head.
Hey, it's all right. It doesn't sound like any of that. It was very distinct and weird. It was, yeah.
Have you tried to look up the sound?
Yeah, I can't find it
No.
anywhere. I've tried. Some things you're just never going to have the answer to, you know, and that's the whole point of episode 10. So go back and watch episode 10. This, however, is our next one. Ready? Turkey vultures. Have you seen those? I've also seen those at the church.
Oh, yeah.
So that you see all kinds of things there. Turkey vultures. Overrated or underrated? In terms of production, Are they essential?
Yeah, they're road cleanup crew.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of agree with that. Overrated scavengers, misunderstood nature's cleanup crew.
Dude, speaking of overrated or underrated birds, have you ever watched like Mark Rober?
Mm-mm.
He was a NASA engineer and stuff like that. He does these studies. Like he's done one on squirrels, but he just did one on crows. And a crow is like the smartest thing ever. It was, you got to go look up Mark Rober's crow video where he studies the crow and puts the crow through like the puzzle test and stuff like that. It's really crazy. But yeah, those are underrated birds.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the crow.
Yeah, they're kind of like seen as like an evil thing.
And the raven, they can talk. It's weird.
But crows remember your face.
This is the end.
That's the scary thing.
We're gonna end overrated, underrated here and talk about crows for a minute. But yeah, man, they're a weird bird and they're like an eerie bird, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying that they're the smartest bird?
And they remember faces.
Yeah.
So they remember, like, if you treat them badly, they can purposely seek out revenge on you specifically.
In Native American traditions, unlike the turkey, where we talked about that in the Thanksgiving episode, how it was the pilgrims who conspired against it. No, I'm teasing. But the Native American tradition, they view crows as... They consider them as tricksters. They often represent the duality of life and death. For example, in some tribes, the crow is seen as a creator, while in others it's viewed as a guide. And crows also appear as messengers and shapeshifters in folklore. Isn't that wild? Yeah. So like because of that, a lot of times, even in the early Christian church, it was viewed as a symbol of sin or evil. And so crows, like other dark birds, like dark-colored birds, were associated with evil and sin and death.
I don't like that because there's a lot of crows at the church.
Right. I actually
I was alone at the church recently. And I just heard this like noise coming from the ceiling. And I couldn't figure out what it was. So I texted Christian and I was like, "Hey bro, is somebody here working on the roof or something?"
Crows.
Dude, it was so insane.
Yeah,
there's dozens of them.
It makes me uncomfortable, man. I don't like it because, in Revelation, I can't remember where it's at. And I again reserve the right. We're talking off the cuff here, so reserve the right to be wrong. But in Revelation, it does talk about a prophecy of how the fowl of the air will be increased.
Yeah. To
scavenge on the bodies of the Battle of Armageddon. And so whenever I see flocks of crows, that's what I think of. Like, we're in the end times. No. Yeah. And so, but they're then seen as harbingers of misfortune or evil. In the Bible, there are several references to crows or ravens that link to unclean animals, making them a symbol of death or decay. But
I wonder if my son's voice is coming through.
Almost 100%.
Sorry, if my
son getting attacked by a turkey right now.
He is screaming on VR right now, and it's very distracting.
But however, in Noah's Ark, Noah sends out birds to check the floodwaters, and he sends out a raven. Yeah. Often interpreted as a crow. In other translations, it was sent first. However, it did not return, which some interpretations associate this with independence and refusal to offer hope. So it's also seen as a negative thing. I don't know. They just give me the willies, It's like an omen almost of death or misfortune. Not my favorite birds, but they are smart. They're very smart. I've seen videos of people training them to be like to find things like coins and stuff like that. They train them to find coins and money and all kinds of stuff. And they actually will bring them back. And they, like you said, they remember faces and all kinds of things.
Yeah. It's wild.
It's weird, man. Birds in general, I would say I used to have an irrational fear of birds when I was growing up.
Really?
Oh yeah. Like more than any other animal.
I do fear
flocks.
Right, another hiking story from the last story.
Let's hear it.
I took my family. So we live really close to the Buckeye Trail, which goes all the way around the state. And so we hiked back here to the Buckeye Trail off of our property, and we were walking through the woods and heard owls.
I don't like it.
And I've just heard, I've never seen it in person or nothing, but like I've just heard that like owls will attack and they're pretty vicious, I guess. Yeah. Like I don't know if I'm right, but it was an eerie feeling, even though I was not alone.
They are also the same as like the crow.
Yeah.
Like in Native American tradition, they're a symbol of warning. Like it's a warning symbol when you see or hear.
Turn around.
Get out of here. Yep. But they're also seen as guardians of the night.
That's crazy because there's also a lot of
Owls.
suspicious stuff in West Branch's woods as well. So
Man,
maybe it was telling me to
boy.
turn.
Here we
around.
go. But even in Christianity, they're seen in that connotation as well. Not wild.
Mm-hmm.
Seen as unclean. I don't know. In Isaiah, I guess it says in the book of Isaiah 34:11, owls are described as dwelling in desolate places. It contributed to their association with death and ruin. They live in desolate places. No hope. Which is crazy. They're kind of cool looking. Have you seen the owl's legs?
I don't know that I
Bro,
have.
I gotta show you this real quick. Anyways, like it's crazy because owls and they're just birds, like they're animals, and the Bible does talk about too, like who are we to call them uncommon? You know, like so. I think it's funny how we get. But I did have an irrational fear. You're gonna freak out. You've never seen this?
I don't know that.
I'm sending this to you right now. I used to have an irrational fear of birds. This is what I look like putting my long johns in the morning.
That's hilarious.
Isn't that crazy?
There's no way.
And I'm no longer
That's
afraid.
wild.
Isn't that wild?
You're no longer afraid.
I'm no longer afraid. Owls have really long legs that are disproportionate to the rest of its body, and so
It looks like furless too.
yeah, it's wild.
That's funny.
So it just made me laugh.
It's just as long as its body.
Yep.
So these legs they look like they're the size, maybe like 2 finger widths wide, like thick diameter, according to like the picture of this person's hands.
Yep.
And they're just as long as the head to tail of the owl.
It is one sleeping.
That's crazy.
They sleep like this
So funny.
occasionally, face down. That's also
That's
how
like
I
a
sleep.
cartoon.
Yeah. So, but I used to have this irrational fear of them. Because, like, if all the birds on the planet decided to turn on you, what would you do? Attack from above.
Pray.
Pray, Jesus. Yeah. So, let us know in the comments. Are birds dumb? Are turkeys dumb? Are ravens bad? Are owls bad? What are your thoughts on this? Give us some engagement. Tell us about it. And that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Unless you got anything else to say.
No.
All right, Sean, take us out.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us today on the Casting Faith podcast. We hope that you enjoyed your time listening and we didn't bore you too much. If you could just leave us a like, comment, subscribe, review, do all the things, and we'll catch you around.
Like, comment, and subscribe.